All right, good morning and welcome to this session of my Level Up series. I am super excited. It is November 12th. And to all of you that have tuned in through any one of our social networks or are watching this via live stream, welcome and thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time. Today's a super exciting day, and it's so fitting that it is a day after Remembrance Day, because my guest this morning and the story that she is going to share actually began with a story of a soldier, doing some peace mission work in Afghanistan. And we're going to talk about Captain Trevor Green and the influence that it had on Barb Stegemann. For those of you that know Barb, some of you will, some of you won't. She is an absolute remarkable woman. We often talk about making the world a better place, doing our part. And this individual truly is making the world a better place. She truly is going into the villages and is, raising them up. She had a normal life in 2006 when her best friend, as I said, took a axe through the head, and it launched this incredible journey, this mission. And looking back now, I'll just give you some of the highlights of that mission. Barb not only attended and presented on Dragon's Den and found her partner today on it, but she was also recognized by Dragon's Den many years later as the top game changer on the show and its history. She has a company called Seven Virtues, a company that sources organic, fair trade, essential oils from war-torn countries and regions experiencing turmoil like Afghanistan and Rwanda and Haiti, the Middle East. Her perfume line today is one of the top sellers on Sephora, or in Sephora, in both Canada and the USA. If that isn't enough, she is the best-selling author of The Seven Virtues of a Philosopher Queen. I've read the book. My wife is reading the book now. It is such an incredible, there's such an incredible book. The messaging in this was just an aha moment in so many ways for me. She was also identified and ranked as one of the top 100 most powerful women in Canada. She won the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year award for emerging entrepreneur category. She's also the subject of an incredible 90-minute documentary called Perfume Wars. And then Profit Guide magazine named her as one of the top 30 cool and fabulous Canadian entrepreneurs, which I completely agree with. What a cool list to be named on. And then lastly, and I think for me, the one that ties it all together, the feather on, in her cap, is she was also the first honorary colonel in the history of the 14-wing Greenwood base in the Royal Canadian Air Force. Barb, good afternoon to you. Good morning for all of our people in the West.
Hello, Gary. Thanks for having me. What a fabulous intro. I'm like, wow, she seems pretty cool.
She's a very, very cool woman, I got to tell you.
I gotta hang out with her.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and listen, thank you for taking the time today. Your story really is remarkable, and it really is a peace mission. And I think that's how it all started. And it was very humble beginnings. I mean, you were, it was 2006 when your best friend was obviously in Afghanistan as a soldier, and his job as a Afghan soldier was to bring peace. And he would actually interview, the leaders, the elders in Afghanistan at the time. And of course, when he was sitting down, he had taken his helmet off to show some respect, and a 16-year-old boy came up behind him and split an axe, through the middle of his head. And I know that alone ignited your mission. Maybe tell us about that story, how it all begun, and why this mission that you launched has meant so much to you.
Yeah. Well, Trevor was my mentor and friend in university. He'd push me to row harder and ask better questions. And he would leave a party at King's just to make sure that a girl got home safely. And he wrote the book on the missing women in Vancouver before people were really taking note. So he'd always cared deeply, and he was a CIMIC officer, which meant that his job in Afghanistan was to talk to the local community and discuss what are your needs: roads, schools, education, healthcare. And you're right, he took his helmet off as a sign of respect. And so, severely wounded, and so blessed to have such an incredible mentor in my life. I was fortunate that I lived in Vancouver at the time, and I could visit him 3 days a week in the hospital. And that's where we went on this journey together. You would do anything for your best friend. They would do anything for you. So I told them I'd take on his mission of peace. And then I realized I didn't have a way. I'm not a brave soldier. I'm not a world leader. But I realized that women own the buying power. 80% of all household decisions are made by women. I thought, what if we could harness that power and bring about change? So I wrote the book, The Seven Virtues, dedicated to Trevor, gave women that stoic wisdom of Churchill and Aurelius and Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir, things that maybe our parents might not have spoken to us about as women, so that we could have the courage to walk with men in an enlightened world and speak truth to power and make change. And so I brought the thesis to life when I read about Abdullah in Afghanistan, who was growing the legal orange blossom and rose. And I thought, this is how I will, walk my talk, and started buying oils from Abdullah. Back then, the banks wouldn't give me a loan. Nobody had ever heard of a social enterprise. People made fun. And so I went on Dragon's Den, and that was how I was able to prove that this concept of social enterprise, long before we had a word for it, mattered, and that we could take our buying power and affect change in people's lives. And it's been an incredible journey together with Trevor on this as friends. And he really set me on this path. And I think that's the most important thing. When a family friend is harmed physically, spiritually, intellectually, PTSD, so many issues when our brave soldiers come home, that families often and friends feel like their hands are tied. And I wanted to show that our hands are never tied, and that we can always find a way. And yes, it's hard. It's wonderful to be called a trailblazer or a game changer, but you don't get to be called that unless you are able to have a stiff upper lip and handle those making fun, mocking, not understanding. It's very crucial. But when we can do that, and when we have that skill set, we can bring meaningful change and really prove that our hands are never tied. And that's really one of the main messages for me to others. If I can do this, we can do anything.
Yeah, just incredible, right? I mean, I get goosebumps when I hear you speak of it, and there's so much I want to get to today. But you didn't go out there and raise a bunch of money and promote people to support charities. Of course, all service initiatives, are awesome and great. But you are really a social entrepreneur at heart. You believe that most people don't want or don't need, or that charity often doesn't work. And you actually took a different path. You went to these, countries stricken with poverty and strife, and that were war torn. And you actually worked with local farmers. Some you helped get started, so that they could actually, have a means to the end, so that they could support, where they live, and could build something special. Tell us about the difference between charity and social entrepreneurship. Tell us, and the impact that these farmers, are seeing in their own lives now because of the initiative that you're working with them on.
Yeah, I mean, I was raised on welfare. We were pretty poor, and people used to drop off the Christmas hamper and drive away, but they wouldn't invite us to the banquet. They wouldn't include us. And so my sister and I just wanted to be included. We wanted to be able to make decisions, be at the decision-making table, be included. And so, I know when there are tragic situations, charity is a must, short term, but long term. When I talk to my friends in Haiti or Rwanda or different countries, they all tell me, charity kills our creativity. Charity makes the giver feel great, but it keeps the recipient in a place of needing handouts. And so for my sister and I, she said the only way for us to break the cycle of poverty was in education. So I followed her to university, and that's where I met Trevor. And when we work with our farmers, all of our distilleries are already set up, though I will qualify that. It has to be grassroots and starts from the community. When a community member decides they're going to create a distillery, then it's not us as North Americans coming in and telling people what they should do. It's coming from the people. And that's what we work with. We work with farmers in Rwanda, Afghanistan, now Sri Lanka, Madagascar, but the community sets it up. I've been blessed to meet several of our suppliers. Rwanda was the most moving trip for us. They have an expression in Rwanda, God visits other places during the day, but he always comes home to rest in Rwanda. And our supplier, Nicholas, saved his wife, Elsie, during the genocide. And all of our farmers there earn 3 times the income over the next crop of coffee, and it's just really beautiful to see people return home and really invest in their communities, but they can't do it alone. So they need us with our buying power. We can make choices as consumers, and I think it's just really crucial that we make those choices that can lift others. If we're going to buy things anyway, we might as well buy something that makes a difference in someone's life. So yeah.
Incredible. For those tuned in today, please post this, your message and words of encouragement. Use the hashtag make perfume, not war. We're going to speak about that in a few minutes. Certainly reach out to Barb Stegemann directly. And on here, we're going to give away at least 50 copies of Barb's book today. Also, she has this incredible documentary that we're going to talk about called Perfume Wars that, you can currently rent for, I think it's $4.99. I watched it the other night, but I know we're going to give the link to anyone who wants it, to all of you, free today. This was important to Barb. She wants to continue to spread this, message of peace. And you're just, again, Barb, you're just a remarkable, peacekeeper and peacemaker. So let's talk about, in this book, the 7 virtues. And the 7 virtues, the foundation of what's good in the world and what's good in people and what we should work towards. I'm going to just go over the 7 virtues, and maybe from your words, I'll have you explain what they mean to you individually. So the 7 virtues that you've identified are wonder, balance, truth, courage, justice, wisdom, and beauty. Can you spend a minute or two on each one of those and tell us about what they mean to you? And we're going to ask people in their hashtags and their comments and their thumbs up on here to tell us what virtue resonates the most with you.
That's excellent. Thank you, Gary. Well, when I was writing it took 2 years to write it. I took the main 4 Stoic virtues that Churchill used during World War II. Truth, courage, justice, and wisdom. They're kind of the core of the virtues. But because it was a book for women and men, I added 3 more. So I added wonder, balance, and beauty, but not in the way you've ever thought of beauty. So we'll start with wonder. Wonder is where everything begins. When we're in a state of wonder and we're not judging ourselves or judging anyone around us, absolutely everything you need will appear, guaranteed. It cannot fail you. I'm always shocked. I wrote a book on it and it still blows my mind. I still go, this works. Oh my God, this works. It's in the 8th edition. And I still go, oh my God. So wonder. But if you're judging yourself, you are never, ever going to get to the potential that you need. And often we think, okay, well, I don't judge others, but often we judge ourselves. So I was born hearing impaired. I didn't know till I was 21. It's the strangest thing. You wonder how kids in poverty slip between the cracks. They gave me glasses instead. Oh, that'll fix it. But anyway, I have this hearing impairment. So I didn't know till I was 21 when I did my first hearing test. So all my life I've been very intense. I use my hands a lot. I lean in. I have to read your lips to understand you. And I'm quite loud and excited. And so, people used to say to me, "You're so intense." But they'd screw up their face. "You're so intense." And I'd kind of apologize for it. But all I knew was me. And then one day, I went to an economic development conference in Victoria, BC. And I saw the former CEO of Vancouver Canucks, Brian Burke, was giving his 10 commandments. And his 10 commandments, one of them was be intense. And I was like, yes. So I went up to Brian Burke afterwards. I always said, all my life, I've been so embarrassed that people would say you're intense. And you gave me permission today. And from now on, I'm going to be proud of who I am, and I'm not going to apologize with my body language. And you know what happened, Gary, from that moment on? No one ever called me intense. It was my issue. I was judging myself. And the moment I give permission to myself to be who I am, so wonder applies to everything, not just the people around you. I mean, dig deep within yourself. We judge ourselves. And when we stop that, when we cast that off, the world opens up because you were given gifts that no one else has, and it's not your right to keep them to yourself. So wonder is, I believe, the most powerful place to start, and it takes daily practice, like a muscle. You have to rip it. But if you stay in a state of judgment, you become judgy and angry and resentful and all those terrible things that can etch into us. So wonder, balance. Balance is crucial. We applaud ourselves for reading a book. We applaud ourselves for going to church. But we really have to take care of our body. Your body is going to take that soul and mind to the end. And balance is absolutely imperative. Say no to some things. Take time out every day to move your body, to exercise. It's really crucial every day, and enjoy it while we can. While you can move your body. One day we may not be able to. And so if you're having difficulty saying, you know, I can't get to that workout, I don't want to do it, I'm not in the mood. Well, who knows what tomorrow's going to bring? Maybe tomorrow you can't go for a walk. So wouldn't you want to use your body today in the way that it was built for you to bring your soul and your mind to others? So we have to honor it.
It's interesting. A good friend of mine, David Darren Hardy, has said on that very topic, he just said, guys, it isn't about like, you know, I don't want to go to the gym. Like, I can go to the gym. I have the opportunity to go to the gym, right? Like, we're so fortunate that we actually can. And so, I mean, you know, very, very important point.
It's crucial. Absolutely. So when you're not motivated, just do it. So wonder, balance, truth. You know, a lot of people don't know how to speak up. They whisper things, or they're speak ill of somebody, or they'll talk to someone about it. You have to talk right to the person and speak your truth. And if you don't, you're gonna feel resentful and all bottled up. And you know what's the worst that can happen when you share the truth? You get somewhere. Something beautiful happens, or maybe you end something that was negative in your life. But if you don't live truthfully, you're not living fully. You're not living honestly. It's absolutely crucial. So wonder, balance, truth. Courage. It takes courage. I was terrified to go on Dragon's Den. Kevin O'Leary can be so mean. Oh my God. After the Dragon's Den aired, first woman from Atlantic Canada to get a deal, my daughter's class, I went to give a talk, and one of the kids said, well, Kevin O'Leary was so mean to you. And I said, get ready for life, kids. Not everyone's going to like your idea. That's okay. Why do we talk about someone who doesn't like it? Who cares? Courage to go on the den. I was absolutely terrified. But you know what? When you're scared, if you think about a mission that's bigger than you, like a soldier, I knew that my mission was to communicate with millions of Canadians that we have to do trade with nations rebuilding if we're going to reverse cycles of war and poverty and do some of the heavy lifting, not leave this up to our brave military and our government. As citizens, we have to find a way. And so the courage to go into the den was knowing that my mission, if my win isn't my win and my loss isn't my loss, it's purely the message I have to share. And with that, it became one of the most powerful Dragon's Den episodes, even though my cheek was going into my eye and I wanted to pee my pants and I was terrified. Every time I'm scared, that's what I do. I say, what am I supposed to do here? What gift was I given to go serve? And I'm okay with the response because it's not my ego. It's about what we have to do and why we have to serve. So courage, wonder, balance. I still have to count these. You'd think that after you. Wonder, balance, truth, courage, justice. The philosophers believe that justice is the natural response when all the other virtues are in play. So you don't really need to focus on it as a virtue. It will happen if we live courageously, truthfully, in balance, in wonder, with wisdom. If we actually do all of that, then justice will occur. And when we don't have a just world, that means we're not being brave enough, that we're not being honest enough, that we're not being non-judgy of ourselves enough, that we're not being courageous enough. And that's okay. We are mere mortals. We're allowed to try to figure it out and bumble along. It's very okay. But you have to love your broken bits as right along with your achievements. And the people around you have to love you for your broken bits too. They can't just love you when you're winning an award. Right. People have to be with you when you're feeling down and love you for the whole package. That is crucial. So a just world. And the next virtue is wisdom. I've always loved the story of the wisdom of Solomon. I didn't actually know I had a mission statement for my life until I was in Victoria at another economic development conference. I was having a beer with another friend in economic development from Port Moody. And I blurted out that I want to have the wisdom of Solomon by the time I'm 96. And, and that's okay. I'm going to make mistakes as I go. But the beautiful part of a mission statement for your life, we know our corporate mission statements, but what's your mission statement for your life? If you know where you're going, no one can knock you off. And so I want to have the wisdom of Solomon by the time I'm 96. And I'm 51, so I have 45 more beautiful years of learning and being kind to myself and making mistakes. But the coolest part about having that mission statement is, because I want to have the wisdom of Solomon by the time I'm 96, that means my mission statement goes on autopilot. So when I was on Dragon's Den, for example, if you watch the clip, I have no money, I'm out of my garage, I'm being made fun of. How do I prove that this works? I remember 3 of them, Arlene, Brett, and Jim, Try Living, all said, do we have a deal? We want in. There it is. And I didn't say, oh, yes, thank you. I want your $75,000. Instead, my mission statement went on autopilot, and I said, do I get your wisdom and your counsel?
Right.
And that's when Brett Wilson said, you'll have trouble ignoring us. And so the cool part is, I don't think I would have actively known to ask that great question. It's because my mission statement was on autopilot. And the last one's beauty, but beauty like Michelangelo. Michelangelo, one of the greatest artists, philosophers, believed that beauty is expression over form. So what's expression? Expression is your power and your dignity. And your form, Michelangelo would say, you know, they'd say during the Twiggy era, if you're skinny, that's your beauty. He'd say, that's not your beauty, that's your form, that's not your expression. Your expression is your beauty. Well, if you're born in the Renaissance and you're voluptuous, they'd say that's your beauty. Again, measuring you on your form. Your body's form is not your beauty. Your beauty is your power and your dignity. And if we taught our daughters that their beauty is their power and their dignity, we would not lose little girls to eating disorders. We would not lose women to the streets. We would not lose women to the $8 billion cost annually for wife battery in our country. Your beauty is your power and your dignity. Never hand it over. And even if you don't agree with someone, never strip them of theirs. We'll get to a good place. And that is what world leaders must adhere to, everyday individuals do. And when we do that, we can say difficult things and get to a good place.
Hey, Barb, Dave Teixeira and I are going to be your campaign managers. I think you're running for prime minister next. I mean, this is absolutely incredible, right? Thank you for that explanation. I mean, I promise you, I'm literally standing here with hair up on my neck. You know, I want to talk about something, and I read something in your book, and it really resonated to me, and I completely agree with the statement, and I want to share it. You have been asked if you are a feminist. The answer is no. I deserve more than being labeled, and I find most women and men don't even understand the word. Can you explain that for us?
Yes, because it can seem so controversial, doesn't it? But
Sure.
Here's the thing. I don't want to be labeled. I'm more than that. I am a human. I'm a friend. I'm an entrepreneur. I am so much. But the thing is, that word gets manipulated and used. And I'll give you some examples. But first, I want to qualify it by saying I champion and do much of the same work that feminists do. So we're very much aligned. In fact, probably exactly the same. And I worship and adore all of my friends who do consider themselves feminists because it's important. And one of my favorite authors, Mary Wollstonecraft, was considered the mother of feminism. I adore her. I quote her all the time. My favorite quote is, "The beginning is always today. This moment. Doesn't matter what happened in your life before. The beginning is always today." Here's the challenge, though. When I studied philosophy in university in the late 80s, Mary Wollstonecraft's book, A Vindication of a Woman's Right, had been written in the 1700s. It wasn't on my reading list. It was put in feminism studies, and it wasn't there for men to read. And so that bothered me, this notion that, oh, well, we'll just put everything over in women's studies. Men and women must read the enlightened works of women and men. Oh, look at you. I love that you have that up. It's one of my favorites. And she also wrote A Vindication of a Man's Right. Girl was out there fighting for men and women in the 1700s, but we do her a disservice when we label her and put her off to the side when she should be with Plato and Socrates and Sartre, right? She should be right there with everyone. And so that's why, and the other last thing I'll add is I really get disturbed as a woman who has been overlooked, who has been judged, who has been underestimated. When I look at men that call themselves feminists and then they throw women under the bus politically, how can a man, a politician, call himself a feminist when he has never been underestimated, he has never been overlooked like a woman, and then go throw women under the bus, figuratively, in politics because it didn't work for him? You want to be a feminist? Your job is to fight for women's rights 24/7. I'm not even that good, and I'm working hard. And so the abuse of that word, I'm probably more a feminist than anyone. And I step back from the word because if I watch it misused, abused, manipulated again, or a great woman being shuffled off to the side to be just with women. And once we have great men and women together, like we do today, you know, we're friends. We don't even define ourselves as Gary's a man, Dave's a man, I'm a woman. We are people doing something really lovely. And I think that's really where it starts. And I think that's kind of how we all feel, right?
Amen. Amen. Well said. Although you're a peace leader at heart, as a social entrepreneur, there are many lessons that I believe we can learn from you. And I've interviewed some of the top entrepreneurs today. You said your network is your net worth. And this really resonated with us and with me in particular, because, we've spoken about that importance for a very long time. Talk to us about your belief in the importance of establishing those relationships and partnerships today in the often male dominated world, the industries, the banks, so that we can build up that peer-to-peer respect.
Yeah, I mean, it's crucial that we as women. I'm realizing there's cat hair all over me. Just found myself in it.
We couldn't see it.
I think that for me, I was raised in welfare. We didn't go to Rotary. I mean, later in life, I became a Rotarian, but certainly I wasn't invited to people's homes because we weren't in the network, and it was not intentional of others. They just didn't know about us. And so no one's going to know about you unless you get out in the network, unless you show up, whether it's now virtual, joining different groups. I just joined the Female Founder Collective, a group that now that logo's on my website. I'd never heard of it before, but basically it lets someone know who's shopping, who wants to support a female business person, that she's a member of the Female Founder Collective. And so there are amazing ways to create new networks where you can go and gain wisdom and network with other people, even though we're living you guys are so amazing. Wow. So I suggest other women out there that have their own, that are self-employed with you, that they look at different ways that they can network, even virtually, right now, because you can't necessarily go to a chamber meeting. We will again, but in the meantime, there's no reason not to be networking. Really crucial. And I've never been afraid to show up at the banquet. I feel I have the right to come to the banquet. And so I think, again, when you don't judge yourself, you're not afraid to go, hi, how are you? And who cares if someone is in a bad mood and doesn't talk to you? I mean, cold calling. If anybody has to cold call, I think sometimes you got to cold call 20 times, and you've got to be able to deal with no every day until you get the yes. But if you give up at the 19th no, maybe the 20th was the yes. Right. And so I really think it's really crucial. And if you're not out there cold calling, someone half as good as you is out there getting the deal. If that doesn't drive me crazy, I think about that and go, well, I'm getting out there. Because I actually know how to do this. I will respect my clients. I am a great partner. I believe in win-win. I will always make sure that everyone does well. If I have to walk on glass, I don't care. And so, that's what propels me to go out there and not be afraid to say hello to strangers and make those cold calls, make those introductions, and never stop doing it. Even for fun, I'll show you. You can actually see my network. Now you can focus. Wait, which side should I show you? You see back here, that's Mark Cuban, President Clinton, and Secretary Clinton. And you can't really see those when I'm up here because it focuses on me. But I didn't know any of those people growing up.
So 30 seconds, because I want to just, this wasn't on my questions, but I want you to tell the story. You said you're in, Haiti. I'm talking about I think it's ranked the first or second poorest, country in the world right now. And you said, oh my God, here I'm a girl raised from a single mother in Nova Scotia, and I'm on this peace mission, with Bill Clinton, and I'm riding in the Clinton helicopter. Tell us about that, because that's so cool.
Well, it was amazing that he'd heard of our work buying vetiver oil from farmers in Haiti. And they invited me to go on a trade mission. And I remember we were walking in a field with, the Secret Service, all protecting. Former presidents are always protected by the Secret Service. And so we're walking along, and he starts telling me this story about how when he was 7, he was almost killed by a bull. It was ramming him against the wall, and his uncle kept trying to grab him to bring him up on the farm and get him up. He finally saved him and pulled him up. And I shared with him my story of my cow Buttercup. When I was 8, we had a cow Buttercup, and I used to go talk to her. She had those big brown eyes. And one day I went out to talk to her, and she was gone. And I was devastated. I remember running in to see my parents, and I was so upset. I was like, "Where's Buttercup?" And I'm telling him this story. And my parents said we had to sell her for food money. And I said to them, why didn't we have babies? Why didn't she have babies? Why didn't she have little baby heifers? Why didn't we make butter and sell it at the end of the road like the neighbors? Why didn't we keep her and she could have been long-term money for us instead of selling her for a short amount of money that's not a long-term solution? So I told them that story, and then life went on. We all got in the UN helicopters. And then that night we were at a reception, and I'm standing there. Listen, President Clinton just kind of zooms in and goes, "Tell me more about that cow, Buttercup." And that was it. I kept talking about my philosophy and how it was shaped by these experiences. And I am blessed to continue to be invited on these trade missions, and finally got to meet Secretary Clinton. They shared with me that they both wear our perfumes, and they both read my book, which I was really moved by. And to think that Hillary and Bill and Chelsea all wear our Seven Virtues perfumes, kind of cool. I don't have celebrities. I look at politicians and what they do to change the world, and see if we can somehow emulate that and do some of the heavy lifting as citizens, because we can't really make our governments do everything alone, you know.
Yeah, and just you know what, the you were in the UN helicopters with the Clintons is super cool. And by the way, I'm going to say it again, like literally, honestly, Prime Minister, we're going to push that going forward. So I know, and I've heard you speak about being the architect of your own mission statement for your life.
Yep.
Can you share with us what that is, and tell us the importance of it, and how our viewers can start creating an mission statement for their own life?
Yeah, I mean, you are probably already have one. You just need to articulate it. And the most important thing is to really imprint it, embed it in your life like a mantra, like a neon sign. You know, I want to have the wisdom of Solomon, and that what happens because I am seeking that means I'm going to seek mentorship, that I'm constantly going to follow the smart people, see what they do, seek what they seek, ask good questions. And so it depends on where you want to go with your life. This one short, blessed, sweet life, and it is short. Make no mistake, 96 years is short. I can't even impress upon all this, and none of us have a guarantee on tomorrow. So it's really, really important that your life is guided by a direction and a path and a goal. And you know, for me with mine, I'm going to keep learning as I go. And at the very end of my life, when I'm 96, someone's going to ask me what to do in the world, and I'm going to know the answer, and then I'm going to die. And it'll have been a fabulous life. And so it's a real trip. Having that mission statement really connects your mind, body, spirit, that balance piece, that bumbling, broken human part. Sometimes we put our foot in our mouth. Sometimes we do things that aren't right. You know, some parts of our bodies don't work, like my hearing. Sometimes we might get a little blue or bummed out. All these things are human, and they're real, and they're part of us, and we have to be kind to ourselves. And then we have this divine soul that's so extraordinary that you kind of go, I was given this soul, your instincts, right? When you know what to do and you listen to it, that's your soul. And then your mind, which of course can be expanded every day by just simply reading. I read every day. Every day. There's a famous quote, you're as wise as the people you meet, the places you go, and the books you read. And it costs nothing to read a book. And so having this mission statement is absolutely crucial for us to actually merge the mind, body, spirit together in harmony. And without that, we're kind of adrift. If you don't know where you're going, then you'll read something on Facebook. It'll get you all worked up, and you're off being used and abused by someone else because they've taken all your power and you've handed it over. And so when you know where you're going, soon as even on my Facebook, if I see people starting to attack because one's a Republican and one's a Democrat, do not repeat any garbage. We are thrilled with the world where it's going. We can make change, but I will not in any way, shape, or form allow anger porn, which we call it. Anger porn is such a great word. You know, a world leader throws something out and they hope everyone goes chasing it on Facebook, getting all worked up. And then no one notices that 30,000 Haitians are stuck at the American border because they were promised, you know, fake jobs. So when we actually know where we're going, we cannot be used, and we cannot hand our power over to someone else, some authoritarian figure. So anger porn has no place in my life. And I will, on my Facebook page with my friends, I will say that's not actually how it works. And then I will delete anything. I remove it. That's my page. And this is my life. And, you know, you can say whatever you want on your page, but my page, nobody gets to do it. Delete, block, back to let's move forward with a mission where we're going. And it helps people. And then they thank me. And it's good.
Incredible. You know, there's a quote in your book, actually, and I'm not sure of the author.
Epictetus,
I guess. Thank you for pronouncing that.
The Art of Living.
Yeah, and the quote is, "What is the first of one who studies? To part with self-conceit, for it's impossible for anyone to learn what he thinks he already knows." And boy, I see a lot of that. People go, yeah, I've heard it, I've seen it, I've done it, but we also know they don't do it. No. And I think it's I am a massive subscriber of lifelong learning. And much like you, I read every day and I listen to something every day because it feeds my soul. It makes me a better person. So tell me what you think of that quote and how important it is to make that personal development in even small, little, like what seem to be insignificant ways each day.
You know, it's really two things which are great, and I applaud you, Gary, for reading every day and listening. More of us need to make that commitment, and it's crucial, absolutely crucial. But what's interesting to me is that so many people have labored hard for the great books that are written out there, and they're all there for us. So it's like I can go and read, you know, Simone de Beauvoir or Sartre or Plato or Socrates, or, you know, they did all the work, and I can just sit there and learn and become a person of character and become who I wish to be. And, you know, Michelangelo said the sculpture's in the clay, and the clay is really that external stuff. And how do we chip away? How do we know when to chip away? And how do we know to just softly blow the dust so that we can emerge the sculpture that we were intended to be? And it doesn't matter if we start in poverty or if we had weight issues as I did as a child, or it doesn't matter if, whatever it may be, that the sculpture will emerge if we do all the work. And all those great works are out there for us to become human beings of great character and wisdom, and it costs nothing. And I find that really fascinating. And, you know, the other thing is really part of that Epictetus quote is, you know, I may not have all the answers, but I can always ask good questions. And so keep being curious, keep asking questions. You know, people love to say, oh, we've tried that, or, you know, that's been done. It's like, well, it wasn't done by me. So maybe the wrong person was doing it. So, you know, when someone tells you, you can't do that because so-and-so tried it, it was like, well, I haven't tried it. You know, and one of my I call it the cheeky Socratic method. When I wanted to launch this perfume, people said to me, you'll never get that perfume into the perfume store. And I call it the cheeky Socratic method. So when people said to me, you'll never get that perfume into the perfume store, I asked one question back. I said, why? Is that what happened to you the last time you launched a perfume? You never launched a perfume. You want to tell me what I can and can't do. It's cheeky, it's fun, but use it. Whenever someone tells you can't do something, you ask a good question back and challenge them on where is this information even coming from? You know, who is this person even speaking to me with no experience in perfume?
Mm-hmm. It's incredible, right? Those who want to give us advice on something that they know nothing about, but they think they're an authority because they have a minute of our time, and they literally poison and put dirty water into our wells. Yeah. So,
And the minute someone talks about it, Marcus Aurelius said, you meet people, they have ghosts around them. Yeah. They talk about what someone said on some post somewhere. Who cares? You're living with these ghosts around you, and you want to just blow them off. They have nothing to do with you. But if you have a mission statement, you're not going to listen to their garbage. Keep moving forward.
Yeah, just say no. You know, one of your perfumes is named Middle East Peace, and there's a story about the concept of that perfume. And myself and my wife looked at it when we were watching the program the other night, and it was just like whoa. Holy, what a cool name, but what a cool story. Can you share with us that story of Middle East Peace?
Yeah, I was moderating the panel on the Middle East at the German Marshall Fund, the Halifax Security Forum. And it was Matan Vilnai, the Deputy Minister for Defense, the then Deputy Minister for Defense for Israel, and Dr. Mohammed Shtea, the Minister of the Housing Authority for the Palestinian Authority. He is now the Prime Minister of Palestine. And so when we all gathered, you've got, I'm half Jewish, half Catholic, so I joke about being guilty about being cheap. That's kind of my shtick. But so you've got Muslim leader for Palestine, you've got Jewish defense minister, and you've got me. I'm half Jewish, half Catholic. I can swing either way, right? And so we all got together and we all teased one another about who owned Jesus. And I was like, wow, these are world leaders and they all get along. What? Why are we even fighting? Why is old hate even in my world? And who is talking about this? Because these people have no hate. And that was it. I decided I was going to merge the oils of the Middle East and call it Middle East Peace. I trademarked it. And I thought, I'm not waiting for people to get along. Let's just start talking about love and not Pollyanna, of course, but we're going to get along. And those who are noisy can hush down. The fanatics can hush down, but we have one thing we have to do. We have to get louder with our love. And I mean loud. And that is the problem. People are not loud with their love. The fanatics are loud with their hate. The only way to balance it is to get louder with your love. And that is whether it's through your business, through your writing, through your podcast, through the way you love your children, through the way you communicate in your community. Get loud with your love, because those who hate have no problem getting loud with their hate. And that's where that's where we need to really pick up the pace.
Yeah, it just resonates so well with me. I mean, one of the things I always say, and it's kind of tongue in cheek, but it's fun. But I say to all brokers and all of our suppliers and all of our owners, guys, find a way to make love every day. I don't care if it's, posting something on social media, right? Spread the love. Let someone know how much you appreciate them, how great they're doing, the contributions. Don't look for ways to correct people and look for ways to build them up and to recognize the good work that they're currently doing, rather than trying to, make them better or correct them. Anyway, make love every day. And I love that. So I have heard you say the most beautiful model in the world is a role model. Who are some of your role models?
Oh, well, Secretary Clinton, of course. I have male role models too. Brett Wilson is a role model to me. Captain Green is a beautiful role model to me. I love, oh gosh, a lot of my role models are dead, like Sir Winston Churchill.
Right.
I feel like I learn all the time when I read their great works. There's Brett and I. And, I feel like when I read Stoic wisdom from the past, that you're with these, that you're walking with them, because their words are so profound, and they teach you. And so when you sit and read, these great role models are with you. And I don't think that wisdom should be lost. I think it's really important for the wisdom of Epictetus and Sartre and Plato and Socrates to live on. These were incredible human beings who looked through the lens of the weakest and the poorest. Great leadership always looks through the lens of the poorest and the weakest and starts there with their decision making. And that we lack in our world. And it's really crucial that one can either, which is another case for diversity, you can either draw from your own humble experience, some painful experience, so that you can have true empathy, which is why we need diversity at the table, which is why Black Lives Matters was crucial, which is why having equality in women is crucial, which is why having people who come from impoverished backgrounds at the table is crucial. But often people who come from poverty or have been in isolation are not invited to the decision-making table. And world leaders make decisions based on incomplete data, because those who are marginalized are not at the table. And so, it's really, really crucial that that we have that perspective, and that all of our leadership comes from the lens of those who have the least.
So you've commented on so much of this already, and I don't know if there's anything you can add, but I mean, peace is the big driver for you. So when does peace, and when I guess we've never, stopped, striving for peace, but what does peace and love mean to you?
Well, we were talking about how long is peace and when will we really have it. I think I heard a great term that I just love. It's called cathedral thinking. And the notion of cathedral thinking that, I may not witness true peace on this earth during my lifetime, but it's worth starting and it's worth that journey. And cathedral thinking comes from the notion of the great architects who designed cathedrals, that designed them, knew they would never see the steeples of their gorgeous architectural beauty touch the heavens. They knew they would never see it because it takes 400 years to build a cathedral. But cathedral thinking is, I think it's worth doing. So I will start it. I will walk on glass. I will go for it, and I will pass that torch to the next person, and they will keep it going because we have ignited them. And that's why reading the great leaders of the past is crucial when we look at some of the mess that we just came out of and still are in on some levels in our communities, that we have that great wisdom from the past and go towards cathedral thinking in any big mission, so that we can pass that torch and ignite the generation that is younger than us to get excited. So I feel like in some ways I have ignited a lot of social entrepreneurs. I have a lot of women write me and men tell me, I became a social entrepreneur. You were sort of the first person I ever saw do that. Great. Now we have cathedral thinking. We have that kind of momentum going, and it doesn't matter what your industry is. Cathedral thinking is crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. Yesterday was Remembrance Day. Obviously, the spark that ignited this whole thing for you was your best friend, Captain Trevor Green. It's been, a long time now since his injury, but yet he continues to make extraordinary, advances. And he is, for brain injury survivors, they often say that, after the first 6 months, there is no more improvement, and he has broken that mold, and obviously a testament to him as a person and his spirit. Did you speak to him yesterday? Did you connect? And how is Captain Green doing?
Yeah, we spoke the night before, and he told us that he was going to be on Global News speaking, and Dave sent me a screenshot of him and Debbie, his wife, on the show. They're doing great. We used to go visit them every 3 months in Nanaimo from Nova Scotia, but now with COVID, we just Skype a lot, which is hard. I really miss him. We love getting drunk together. We did study in Nova Scotia. So
I love it. Yeah, you're a newbie.
Oh yeah, yeah, we're Atlantic Canadians.
You're
We do
Atlantic
love to
Canadian
drink.
anyway,
Yeah. And so, he's got the most map brain in the world. There's never been a recovery like that. He has motivated so many people with brain injury, and it's really extraordinary to witness his continued healing journey. And he keeps just breaking all records, and it's because of his beautiful wife, his family, his beautiful children, his friends, his faith, and he is committed, and he has a mission, and he has a vision for his life, and he's unstoppable. And so, he's found all the blessings in his life, and he is so grateful for everything he has. And he really, how can you not rise up with a best friend like that?
It's just a remarkable story, and his journey is still, there's a lot of road ahead of him, but his commitment and his spirit and the way he looks at things, there's lessons to be learned from all of us. And look what he did. His story has inspired something so much greater. When I said you're a newfie, obviously, Nova Scotia,
we're pretty close though. We're
right,
just
whether it's Newfoundland or whether you're from the Maritimes or Atlantic Canada, I can tell you, I remember the day when I was in a cab, and I literally asked this question to the cab driver. I said to him, "It is amazing," and I was in Nova Scotia actually at the time. I said, "It is amazing. Like you people are all so nice and friendly and patient, and like why is that? Is that instilled from you?" And he goes, "No, we're always drunk." Was his answer to me. And we laughed their head off, and they are just some of the nicest people.
It's water.
I don't know if it's a water or what it is, but boy, are they a special bunch. Anywhere through the Maritimes
I would say Newfoundlanders are even nicer than us. I'll be honest. We're nice, Oh my God! If you got to go to Newfoundland at some point in your life,
Mm.
it's like going through the Narnia closet door. It is magical. It is
Yeah.
absolutely magical. Nova Scotia's pretty good too.
Yeah, yeah, sure is. I remember being screeched in, and boy, that's serious business out there. So, anyway, here's a
Honest to
shout out
God.
to all of our friends in the Atlantic and Maritimes. Okay, just a couple last things, Barb, and we'll sort of wrap this. Your favorite book? I mean, obviously, I know you study philosophy, and man, there's whether it's Marcus or whether it's Socrates or so many others. Is there one favorite book that you read that you just go was kind of an aha moment where you just go like, everyone should read this besides this book, and everyone should read this?
There are a couple. There was two I want to share because they're both crucial for different reasons. One is Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, and it basically goes through, from my mother I learned, from my father I learned, from bad bosses I learned, from good bosses I learned, from gossip I learned, and it helps you learn from both the good and the bad. And it really helps you to sit down and create your own meditation. So at the back of my book, we have a section where you can create your own meditations. And it really helps you to articulate to yourself some things that you probably knew deep down, but you really come face on with and go, yeah, I learned a great lesson from that. And you can let go of something that might have been painful because now you have the gift of the wisdom. And then you go, oh, that was sent to me for a reason, because I was tough enough to bear it. And so, okay, that's good. I see the gift rather than, still feeling sad or anxious or guilty, because again, the beginning is always today, right? And so you're not who you were 2 months ago, a year ago. So that has no ghost place around you. So the meditations gives you all of that. The other one is Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. It was written in the 60s, and it really teaches you how to visualize. And basically, it's extraordinary. I read it over and over and over. I buy it for people for Christmas, just like the Meditations. These are my two favorite books. Psycho-Cybernetics, the basic core of it is that your body doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So whatever you tell your body, it believes. There it is. And so if you tell yourself you can do it and achieve great things, you will. But if you tell your body you can't, I tried that before, you won't. And so the basic premise of it is that if you imagine something in your life for 28 days, take some quiet time for 15 minutes to a half an hour and watch your life like a movie. Who's in it? What achievements you're having? What records you're breaking? What places do you want to be? And at the end of 28 days, everything will be in play. I call it a spiritual business plan. And you will actually have it in motion and it will happen. And every time I do this, it freaks me out. It works. And I'll tell you one of the stories was I was in Haiti. It was my company was surviving. It wasn't thriving. We had a different line then. We were in a different retailer. The world was world was completely changing. The millennials and Gen Zs, my children, were taking over the buying power, and we were just surviving. And I have a lot of farmers counting on me. And so whenever I don't know what to do in life, I volunteer. I get out of my own way because I realize all my problems really aren't that big. And so I was in right, and I was in Haiti. I was volunteering after Hurricane Matthew, and while I was there, Sephora wrote me. And I'm not going to tell you, I never told my team how many times they rejected me, right? And that was something I never told my team. You just be the leader and keep going and pitching and being lovely. And so they wrote me. And so I blurted out to all my girlfriends in Haiti, oh my God, Sephora just wrote me. And one of my girlfriends who has a castor oil farm, a cooperative in Haiti, said they have this Accelerate program. They realized that less than 4% of the CEOs of beauty companies are women, and they basically beauty idol you and help you rebrand your company. And so 1,800 women apply, only 10 get in. And I decided right there and then that I was getting in that program. And I did it every day for 28 days. I saw myself in Sephora. And when I finally met with my merchants in Toronto, the way I remember it's more dramatic. I sort of see myself going, I'm not giving you these perfumes. But that's not really how it went. But I met with them and I said, look, I want to get in that program. I want to create a brand new line for Sephora. Same oils, same countries, but I want the kind of packaging that my Gen Z and millennial kids would love. And I got in the program and they mentored me and guided me. And now we're number one across Canada and the US in the clean space, in the new clean perfumes. And we're now talking to France, where Sephora started. And that the France one began during COVID. because we realized that we can train all our stores virtually across the US and Canada. I can't leave Nova Scotia. It gave me more, because we have to quarantine for 14 days if we leave. And it gave me more courage to realize where I thought I couldn't go before, I can go anywhere. And so I got a consultant, and we sought that wisdom, and we're doing it. And it's just very exciting. So I really think that the idea of really sitting down and having a 28-day plan to visualizing what you need is crucial. And psycho-cybernetics is all about our self-beliefs, our self-esteem. You can take a beautiful human being that can sing like an angel, and she doesn't think she has the right to sing. And it's heartbreaking to watch. And so I really feel that anybody in your life who has a talent or a wish or a dream, and they keep saying they can't do it, you've got to give them a shake, and then give them Psycho-Cybernetics, my book. But really, those are, and the meditations, and really crucial. There's a million other books I love. In fact, everything behind me is all color-coded books. I've got Cicero's How to Run a Country, The Poetry Remedy, many beautiful books that I love. But yeah, Psycho-Cybernetics.
I just saw a quick shout out from Andy Jeffrey. You and I spoke about Andy yesterday, and he just reached out on screen. I think you were his roommate maybe 30 years ago.
Andy used to hug Victor. He's now 25. You would I have pictures of you holding him. I miss you. Can I get your email after?
I'll make sure we send that off to you. Him and his incredible wife Julie are some of our franchise owners in Alberta, and they're some of the best of the best. So I want to make sure Andy,
Victor and Ella remember visiting them, and they would love to be connecting with you guys again. I would too.
So, Barb, couple things last. We have an incredible group in the Canadian finance space called WIMI, Women in the Mortgage Industry. And it was put together by three incredible women. Two of them are dear friends of mine. The third one I don't know very well, but Suzanne Adila Fleur and Hallie Strandland. And they constantly are working with the female demographic. They work with, obviously, men are invited to WIMI as well, but they are leaders, and they are so far ahead, and they've just done great work for our industry. I would love to be able to offer a program, something that I can do or we can do or you can put on for them and that group, like a special segment, 60 or 90-minute segment that we can really drill down. Is that something that we can look at doing together?
You can do anything.
Perfect.
You can do anything.
I love it. So we're going to do that. Hallie or Suzanne, if you're on here right now, reach out to me and we'll set up just a group for the WIMI group in Canada. Because I mean, obviously, every man in the world should listen. Every man in the world should listen to this. It is so incredible. But I know that it'll really resonate with your group. So let's do a special event for that. Barb, I want to make sure that you get proper recognition. And I want people to spread your word. So anyone on here, please subscribe to barbstegemann.com. I'd like you to go on. If you're on this call today, I want you to tag me on social media, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook. I want you to tag myself, and I want you to tag Barb. Barb is one of my friends on Facebook. Tell us what you thought of the Level Up program. Tell us what you thought about Barb. Tell us what your biggest takeaways were. Barb, absolutely incredible. Is there any last minute words that you want to leave all these terrific people with?
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone not to, like, as Winston Churchill said, never waste a good crisis. And yes, this is still a crisis. I'm not going to pretend it's not hard. Our parents are aging. They're missing out on some of the most powerful months and years of their lives. That's why we play cribbage and backgammon every Friday with our 80-year-old parents. And it's really crucial. But I don't want you to waste this window. You're not going to get this window again. We are off the hamster wheel, and we can think. So take this time to be creative. Don't take this time to feel sad that you can't do certain things, because soon enough, you'll be doing way too much again all over. So please, please see the gift in this very strange crisis. And when you see the gift, you're going to have all the rewards, and there'll be plenty of time to be darting around the city and running to events again. But right now, really, really, really find the blessing in this window, because you will never get a break like this again. You wanted this break. You were asking for this break. You were in your car saying, I wish I had time to myself. And now you have it. So take it.
Yeah. And the one last thing that I think is really important, and you and I talked about it off screen, was buy local this winter. Buy local, support your local
Yeah.
merchants, right? The big box, hyper, really, really, giant corporations are going to survive. It's the local mom and pops that are making a massive investment in our communities. Anything you want to mention on that? Because I know it's very important to you.
I'm worried about a lot of the mom and pop shops. I'm worried about, local brands in your province. Anyone who's making something in your province, in your city, buy from them. Canadian, obviously, buy from their website specifically, not Amazon if you can. I know we still have to buy from Amazon because sometimes we can't get to stores and it's not that safe. So I get that. I'm not lambasting anyone for it. I do it myself. But where we can, go directly to their website. Where we can, go directly to the little store. Where we can, order in, treat yourself, and order in from that restaurant that's not getting any more visits, because it's going to be up to us to really lift one another, because I think sometimes when the aid comes, it's too late. So those of us who can do well virtually, we're blessed. But some may not. So let's try to think about that as best we can and use that buying power for good locally.
Love it, guys. The hashtag is make perfume, not war. Tag barbstegemann.com or Gary Mauris on any of my my platforms, please. I'm going to be sending out the thank you, Barb, for this too.
Thank you.
Link to the actual movie, free of charge, guys. You don't got to spend the $5. Go home, watch it with your family, be inspired. Absolutely incredible. I want to thank First Canadian Title FCT for being our sponsor on the Level Up series. Really appreciate the good work that you do in the Canadian finance space. I want to remind all of you that on November 24th, Michael Gerber is our guest. Michael Gerber is the author of many books, but his most famous book, one of the top business books ever written and one that will resonate with an entrepreneur more than anything else I've ever read, is called The E-Myth and the E-Myth Revisited. He is an incredible author, world-renowned, and we're super excited about having him. Barb, from the bottom of our heart, on behalf of everyone listening to this podcast, I just want to tell you one more time what a remarkable individual you are. I love who you are. I love what you stand for, and I love what you're doing. Thank you very much for the good work that you do. And if we can ever do anything for you, I am a cell phone message away. I am a text away. We are here for you. I can't wait to bring you back. I can't wait to do something with Wimmy, because I just think that we've just kind of unraveled, the skin of the orange, right? Or the, the outside. So I think there's
I love the questions you ask. I love your energy. I love your community. I love seeing everybody's stuff popping up. And I just was really motivated as I spoke to you all. And so thank you for just giving me a big warm hug virtually and creating the kind of community you have, Gary. Really, really, really impressive. And Dave doing the tech, and just the team you've attracted, the people you've curated in your life is really quite extraordinary. And that's what we do. And that's what you're doing. So I commend you. Really beautiful.
I was trying to say peel back the onion, not peel back the orange, but my mind doesn't work. I'm getting old. It's not that sharp.
You can peel back an orange. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Barb, thank you very much to all of our listeners and viewers.
Awesome.
Thank you. This was an incredible Level Up series, and I'm thrilled, and I was thrilled to have you. Guys, have a great day.
Thanks,
Post us on social media. Let us know what you think. And November 24th, we'll see Michael Gerber. Have a great day, guys.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.